Now we come to one of my favourite things that you can do to increase your happiness. I've been using this a lot recently. And this is a theory that happiness is always there, like the sun shining. And the only reason we can't always see the sunshine is there are clouds covering it up. And these are your negative emotions. So your happiness is there and you can't turn it up. But what you can do is get the clouds out of the way and get rid of the negative emotions. So we have negative emotions almost all the time obscuring our happiness. And what can we do about that? Do we have the choice about whether we get angry or we worry or we feel guilty or jealousy or hate or whatever your pet negative emotion might be? It might be self-pity, it might be sorrow, regret. Do we have a choice? And the theory says, yes, we do. We are actually choosing these negative emotions. So let's say your pet negative emotion is worry. You are actually choosing to worry. Now, I think that for the first few seconds, there's nothing you can do about it. The worry pops up. But you do have a choice about whether you wallow in it and whether you let it become a big thing. You stoke the flames by going, yes, and what if this happens? Oh, and it could be really awful if this happens. And you allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole of worry. Or do you just think, no, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole? So I think we are choosing that emotion. After the first second, we're choosing about whether we're going to allow that emotion to be there or not. But why would we choose a negative emotion like worry or guilt or anger? And the answer is because of perceived payoffs. We think that there's a payoff to worrying or being angry. And these payoffs are always false. So every negative emotion you have, you are choosing it because of a false negative payoff. Now that's an amazing theory, and can it really be true? Well, I've thought about it a lot and I'm pretty sure it is. Because once you realize that you're choosing these emotions because of a false payoff, you can then choose not to have the emotion. You can think, well, I'm choosing to get angry because I think it makes me stronger. But once I realize that it doesn't make me stronger, I can think, well, I'm not going to get angry. Yes, that emotion will well up for a few seconds, but I'm not going to give it house room. I'm not going to think, yeah, I'm going to get angry. Yeah, I'm going to think, no, I'm not going to get angry. I'm just not going to go down that road because it's not going to do me any good. It's going to make me unhappy in the short term, and it's not going to get a good resolution of this situation. So in the longer term, it's going to be bad as well. And similarly, worry. You're choosing worry because you hope that it'll make you take some actions and then the problem won't happen. But actually, you're probably worrying instead of doing something about it. Obviously, worry gives you an excuse if it goes wrong later, because you can say, well, yeah, I did worry about it. But surely it's better to push worry out the way and take some action instead. And even grief has a false payoff. So absolutely experience it for a short time, but if you decide to wallow in grief for months or even years, then that's going to make you unhappy and you're not going to get the payoff. Because what is the payoff? That you can bring that person back into your life or you can somehow change the past? Because you can't. You have to move on from it. And would that person want you to be unhappy? If you're grieving over, let's say, someone who's died, would that person want you to be unhappy for years and years and years? Probably not. I would hope not. So I'd like you to ask yourself now, what is your pet negative emotion? I found that guilt and worry are the commonest pet emotions that people tell me about. But what's your pet negative emotion? What's the payoff that you're telling yourself that you're getting from that emotion? And do you really get that payoff? Because I bet it's a false payoff. And then you can start to say to yourself, I'm going to push that emotion out of my life. Now, I've made a downloadable that lists all the negative emotions that I could think of and what all the false payoffs are. So I hope that helps you to work out how you can push negative emotions out of your life and make more room for happiness.